with our silent meditation.
I don't hear it.
Okay.
I don't hear.
Okay. Good morning. We will begin with our mindful meditation, and we're going to start it again with some sound. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Mindfulness meditation. During this meditation, we will focus on being mindful, finding that point where you are completely aware of the now. Breathe in through the nose to a count of 4 and out to the count of 6. Whatever thoughts come and go in your mind at this point, simply observe them as if from a distance. See them as colored balloons, as separate from you, and let them go. Let them float away. You are present now. You are not controlled by your thoughts. You can acknowledge that they are simply that, thoughts. Conscious of the beat of blood within you, of the rhythm of your breathing, the brush of clothing against your skin. Feel the surface on which you sit and how your body presses into it. Be aware of any scents that you can smell or colors you can see. Notice the detail in the sounds you are hearing. Feel the temperature of the space you are in. Spend some moments simply being aware of all that is within you and around you right now, in this very moment. This is what it is to be mindful.
Great morning. That completes our mindfulness. We're going to move into our daily affirmation. Let's go.
You are always in the right place at the right time. The best and the highest comes to you at every moment. You receive everything wonderful that you desire. You are a wonderful person. You grow younger and more beautiful every day. You are successful at everything you do. You love and accept yourself for who you are. You are infinitely wealthy and rich, and have an infinite abundance of money and precious treasures. You are in the perfect love relationship with the perfect person for you. You deserve and receive happiness in every aspect of your life. The universe blesses you every moment with love and joy. You are completely healthy in every way. Your body, soul, and mind are in complete harmony with each other, which keeps you in perfect health and forever young. You are talented and creative. You enjoy being yourself. You really are beautiful. You are special and unique. You accept yourself for the wonderful person you are. You enjoy giving and receiving love at every moment. Your life is blessed with eternal youth, wealth, love, and much happiness. You are loved for the beautiful and kind person that you are.
Awesome. Thank you for completing our affirmation today. Today we're focusing on us, and we're going to come back to it. But this is a preview. Today we're going to later on scribe something very simple. Today is about you, your self-care. What's one thing you're going to do for yourself today? It's going to be on the top of your list. It's going to get done. It's not going to be at the bottom of the list. Today's about self-care. So we're going to give some time later on, but here's the preview. What's one thing you want to do for yourself, not anyone else today? So we're going to come back to that. So let's, as we go back into ourself, we're going to visualize power of who we are and our value. So we're going to visualize success. We'll show a short video about your value.
Feels like they lost their worth or their value. Let me speak to that person that feels like they lost their worth or their value. This is a dollar bill. Now, if I go to the store and there's something for 90 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right. So if I go to the store and there's something for 85 cents and after tax, it ends up being 96 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right. So what if I ball the dollar bill up? Think about it now. Like, I just balled the dollar bill up, like, so it can't be worth $1 now. It's probably worth like 95 cents, right? How much you think it's worth? $1. Listen, y'all gotta pay attention. I just balled it up, so clearly it's not worth $1 anymore. All right, so maybe, what if I step on it? What if I stomp it? I just stomped it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 65 cents, 68 cents? It's still worth $1? Okay, what if I ball it up? What if I stomp on it and then I put it in the trash can and it's in here with some trash and it's around some beer and some gum and a bunch of other nasty stuff, and some guy off the street pulls the dollar out, unfolds it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 82 cents? And come on, at least 92 cents? It's okay, all right, so what if I ball it up? What if I step on it? What if I put it in trash and then, watch this, I tear it in half? Think about it now, right? How much is it worth now? $1? I could tape it? Whoa. Shh. Wait. Wait a second. I just balled it up. I just stepped on it. I put it in trash. I pulled it out. Then I tore it in half. And you mean to tell me I can pick the dollar up, I can wipe it off, and I can put some tape around it, and it's still worth $1? then why, if this dollar doesn't lose its worth or its value, then why do you feel like you've lost your worth and value? Because many of you feel like you've been stepped on, you feel like you've been pushed aside, you feel like you've been abandoned, you feel like you've been talked about, you feel like you've been abused, like someone took from you, someone hurt you, somebody took advantage of you, and deep down inside your core, you feel like you've lost some of your value. And I am here to tell you today that this dollar still has worth and value, because there are some men years ago who put value over this life and said that no matter what happens to it, it can still be taped back together, it can still be wiped off. And I am here to tell you that you were created and you're born and you're here and you have life and you have purpose and you have value. And though you've gone through some hard times, and though you've experienced some depression, and you might be wanting to hurt yourself and you might want to give up, I am here to tell you you still got worth and value. And there is nothing that can happen that can take your worth and your value away. So what you gotta do now is you gotta pick yourself up. You gotta dust yourself off and you gotta keep moving.
All right, very powerful. You still have value. So somebody needed that today. It's Gregory, so I'm sharing it with you. We're gonna do some exercise today. It's gonna be fun, some arm crossing, some knee drives, and nice little music. So let's get going, get up. We'll get up with you. Let's do some exercise for our bodies.
Don't stop dancing, set your spirit free. Right on this dance floor, we make history. Open up your heart and I will show you mine. You can do it, don't be afraid. It's your time to shine. Keep on dreaming, this is your time. Keep on believing, spread your wings and fly. Come and join us.
I don't see Jackie running to exercise. Steve, I don't see him. I don't see Dr. Steve. I'm in Germany. I'm doing my thing. All right. I can see you.
That's because Steve is driving.
Okay, no, okay. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Set your mind to. You can be anything you want to be, and no one can ever
1,
take
2,
that away
3,
from you.
4, 5, 6, 7. Woo.
Almost.
Woo. Go for it. Go for it.
Keep on dreaming.
Stevie now is a runner.
This is your time. Keep on believing. Spread your wings and fly.
All right, we're almost there. Almost there.
Go, 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 go. Do it. Wake up. Stand up. Woo, woo.
If you have hopes, if you have dreams, and you belong with us. You belong with us. Generation love, never give up.
Thanks for watching.
All right, we can drink our water right now. That was a little fun there. Thanks for participating in our morning exercise. 3 minutes of fun keeps our body healthy. So we are going to go back to our scribing. And today is about you, about having great value. I'll give you a minute to kind of meditate on what's one thing you are going to do for yourself today. It's part of self-care, personal growth, valuable people that each and every one of you are. So I'm going to give you a minute. We're gonna look for some champions this year. The takeaway: what's one thing you're gonna do for yourself today? Not anyone else, not your spouse and children, but you, and something that will get done. So give it a couple of more minutes. Uh, get that going. Just a couple more minutes. Right, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Right. All right, good morning, champions. Welcome to Savers. We are scribing this morning, and we're focusing on one item you're going to do for yourself today. Any champions want to start? Rosara, I saw you were writing. You must have wrote a chapter in your book there. So what did you write there?
Okay, good morning. No, actually, today I wrote a few sentences.
Hmm,
I was
okay.
thinking of what I did yesterday right after Savers and was listening to music and singing and doing a little short dancing. So today, for my self-care, I'm going to self-motivate myself by listening to some uplifting music and utilize my positive mindsets to continue my daily activities.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Brother Vic on my right. Is that a Yankee logo on your jersey there, or a Mets fan? I think you Met. No, no. Brother Vic, what's your one self-care thing you're gonna do today?
Brother man, you better act faithful and know, and it ain't no Met blood here. Good morning, everyone. Um, Today I'm going to go for a nice walk, run. I'm going to do everything that my body permits me to do, and I'm going to just reflect and focus on me. And I'm going to rock out to some awesome Christian music while I'm doing it. And I'm going to use that as a moment of cleansing my soul and making sure that I'm right for whatever God is going to use me for next.
Amen to that. Awesome. Great things. Great value. Dr. Pena, you have lots of things you're doing today, but for yourself, what are you doing as part of your self-care? You're muted.
Yeah, today I'm going to do what I'm doing. It's today it's the first date of the Cita con la Poesía, which is 29 appointment with the poetry 29 years later with Dr. Jose Quevedo in Germany. And this is day one. And we have meeting with 20 plus writer from the Canarese Islands. And Jose, Juergen, and Barbara are hosting. So my my treat is gonna be to be with this beautiful group of people. gonna show it to you. It's like 20 of all of them are here. So I'm gonna just dedicate myself to this. I have a couple of businesses to do, couple of patients that I have to do, but aside from that, this is gonna be my treat because we came to Berlin exactly to meet this guy and be part of it and do the poetry recital. So this is something that I really love. So thank you, and make sure that we introduce also Jackie that is here. Don't forget about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Beautiful pictures. Welcome, Jackie. Myself, I am going to go to the supermarket and get some amazing food and spend an hour cooking and listening, just like Rosario, to some amazing music and cooking and enjoying all the creativity that comes my way. So thank you, brother, Dr. Uh, uh, Brother Steve, then Dr. Z next. Brother Steve, how you doing there?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Jay? Great, great. Today I'm going to schedule an appointment for Neva Health, and I'm going to try the red light therapy to relieve some of the inflammation that I have in my joints, and over my body. And in the past, I have tried crowd therapy and cold, like ice baths, but they said this new red light therapy is better than all of that. So schedule an appointment for that today.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for taking action. Your health is your wealth. And I always believe the next time is when the miracle happens. So you're going to be a blessed day. Dr. Z, how are you doing today? How do you like my piano and my value video? I thought of you. I said, Dr. Z needs me to step up my game here. So, you know.
And the music was good too, man. We're really dancing along. That's all I gotta say. But right now, I'm working on making myself a delicious cup of coffee, so that's gonna be something I get to enjoy. And same as you, sir, I'll be making a steak later for lunch. Because I pushed back my running because I've got a big gap between meetings today, so I'm gonna take that time to run, shower, cook the food, and sit outside in the beautiful sunshine and enjoy nature while I eat that steak.
Awesome. I'm already visualizing it in my mouth and the smell and the garlic sounds amazing. Well, welcome, Miss Jackie, to our Savers Wednesday morning, and want to see what's one thing you're going to do for yourself today. It doesn't have to be long. It just could be some things. How are you feeling today, Jackie? Welcome.
And before you do that, could you introduce yourself and kind of say a little bit about, who you are and what brought you here?
I think for today, maybe I'll just say that I would like to just be in the moment, not project what the future will hold or what will happen, but just try to stay centered, knowing that God is in control. I have been a little bit trying to manage things on my own, although I know who is in charge. And for today, after listening to some beautiful words from earlier, that's my goal, is to be present and know that He's God.
Awesome. Awesome. That's an important self-care actualization, and we receive that, and we welcome that you honor yourself and do that. So thank you for sharing, and welcome to the team. We're now going to transition to our book reading. We're reading 48 Laws of Power. We're listening to the audiobook. So Dr. Piña or Dr. Z have the book ready, and we can begin. But right.
Kierkegaard calls unhappy admiration takes hold. You may not see it, but you will feel it someday, unless, that is, you learn strategies of deflection, little sacrifices to the gods of success. Either dampen your brilliance occasionally, purposefully revealing a defect, weakness, or anxiety, or attributing your success to luck, or simply find yourself new friends. Never underestimate the power of envy. Observance of the law. The merchant class and the craft guilds to which medieval Florence owed its prosperity had created a republic that protected them from the oppression by the nobility. Since high office could only be held for a few months, no one could gain lasting dominance, And although this meant that the political factions struggled constantly for control, the system kept out tyrants and petty dictators. The Medici family lived for several centuries under this system without making much of a mark. They had modest origins as apothecaries and were typical middle-class citizens. Not until the late 14th century, when Giovanni de' Medici made a modest fortune in banking, did they emerge as a force to be reckoned with. Upon Giovanni's death, his son Cosimo took over the family business and quickly demonstrated his talent for it. The business prospered under his control, and the Medicis emerged as one of the preeminent banking families of Europe. But they had a rival in Florence. Despite the city's republican system, one family, the Albizzis, had managed over the years to monopolize control of the government, forging alliances that allowed them to constantly fill important offices with their own men. Cosimo didn't fight this, and in fact gave the Albizzis his tacit support. At the same time, while the Albizzis were beginning to flaunt their power, Cosimo made a point of staying in the background. Eventually, however, the Medici wealth could not be ignored, and in 1433, feeling threatened by the family, the Albizzis used their government muscle to have Cosimo arrested on charges of conspiring to overthrow the Republic. Some in the Albizzi faction wanted Cosimo executed. Others feared this would spark a civil war. In the end, they exiled him from Florence. Cosimo didn't fight the sentence. He left quietly. Sometimes he knew it is wiser to bide one's time and keep a low profile. Over the next year, the Albizzis began to stir up fears that they were setting up a dictatorship. Meanwhile, Cosimo, using his wealth to advantage, continued to exert influence on Florentine affairs, even from exile. A civil war broke out in the city, and in September of 1434, the Albizzis were toppled from power and sent into exile. Cosimo immediately returned to Florence, his position restored. But he saw that he now faced a delicate situation. If he seemed ambitious, as the Albizzis had, he would stir up opposition and envy that would ultimately threaten his business. If he stayed on the sidelines, on the other hand, he would leave an opening for another faction to rise up as the Albizzis had, and to punish the Medicis for their success. Cosimo solved the problem in two ways. He secretly used his wealth to buy influence among key citizens, and he placed his own allies, all cleverly enlisted from the middle classes to disguise their allegiance to him, in top government positions. Those who complained of his growing political clout were taxed into submission, or their properties were bought out from under them by Cosimo's banker allies. The Republic survived in name only. Cosimo held the strings. While he worked behind the scenes to gain control, however, publicly, Cosimo presented another picture. When he walked through the streets of Florence, he dressed modestly, was attended by no more than one servant, and bowed deferentially to magistrates and elder citizens. He rode a mule instead of a horse. He never spoke out on matters of public import, even though he controlled Florence's foreign affairs for over 30 years. He gave money to charities and maintained his ties to Florence's merchant class. He financed all kinds of public buildings that fed the Florentines' pride in their city. When he built a palace for himself and his family in nearby Fiesole, he turned down the ornate designs that Brunelleschi had drawn up for him and instead chose a modest structure designed by Michelazzo, a man of humble Florentine origins. The palace was a symbol of Cosimo's strategy, all simplicity on the outside, all elegance and opulence within. Cosimo finally died in 1464 after ruling for 30 years. The citizens of Florence wanted to build him a great tomb and to celebrate his memory with elaborate funeral ceremonies. But on his deathbed he had asked to be buried without any pomp or demonstration. Some 60 years later, Machiavelli hailed Cosimo as the wisest of all princes, for he knew how extraordinary things that are seen and appear every hour make men much more envied than those that are done in deed and are covered over with decency. Interpretation. A close friend of Cosimo's, the bookseller Vespasiano da Bisticci, once wrote of him, "And whenever he wished to achieve something, he saw to it, in order to escape envy as much as possible, that the initiative appeared to come from others, and not from him." One of Cosimo's favorite expressions was, "Envy is a weed that should not be watered." Understanding the power envy has in a democratic environment, Cosimo avoided the appearance of greatness. This doesn't mean that greatness should be suffocated, or that only the mediocre should survive, only that a game of appearances must be played. The insidious envy of the masses can actually be deflected quite easily. Appear as one of them, in style and values. Make alliances with those below you, and elevate them to positions of power to secure their support in times of need. Never flaunt your wealth, and carefully conceal the degree to which it has bought influence. Make a display of deferring to others, as if they were more powerful than you. Cosimo de' Medici perfected this game. He was a consummate con artist of appearances. No one could gauge the extent of his power. His modest exterior hid the truth. Never be so foolish as to believe that you are stirring up admiration by flaunting the qualities that raise you above others. By making others aware of their inferior position, you are only stirring up unhappy admiration, or envy, which will gnaw away at them until they undermine you in ways you cannot foresee. The fool dares the gods of envy by flaunting his victories. The master of power understands that the appearance of superiority over others is inconsequential next to the reality of it. As Plutarch said, of all the disorders of the soul, envy is the only one no one confesses to. Keys to power. The human animal has a hard time dealing
Dr. Piña, we're going to stop there.
Yeah, let's discuss that. So, and then tomorrow we go to key to power.
Key to power. Awesome. 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 Yeah, this is a very interesting chapter. And I love the reference of the Italian. And I think that this one of the words I wrote down in my notes, as many of you did, I wrote, you know, what did I write? Let me pull it up. That the reference of envy is important. That envy is a weed. You either starve it or it will take over your whole garden of success. So that's powerful. So anyone have any takeaways from this chapter?
Yeah, I found it very interesting. Like you said, this is Raw 46, and we're discussing never appear too perfect. And we see a perfect example of that with Cosimo in the observance. Cosimo was a strategist. And we have to be strategists, in our everyday life. We have to be relatable. Cosimo, he embodied this. He lived amongst the people, and he had one servant out with him. He didn't have a whole royal court with him. He lived modestly, but even though he had all this power, and we just see that downplaying your talents, or being relatable, and highlighting your flaws, or emphasizing maybe even the role of luck. This is a way that we mitigate the envy of others, and that's how he was able to have people on his side. That's how he was able to, even after his death, have Machiavelli say, "Oh, he was a great strategist. He was a great person. He was somebody to be revered." So he really embodied never appeared to be too perfect, and in our lives, and in leadership and in the workplace, we have to be relatable to our employees. We have to be relatable to the company, and depending on what we're doing. As our therapist, Dr. Piña has to be relatable to each and every one of our needs or what we're talking to him about, and in order to help us get through what we need to get through. So somewhere in our lives, we have to be relatable to something, someone, or a situation.
Yeah, that's so profound. And my takeaway from what you said, Steve, thanks for sharing, is that power isn't always about showing strength. You have to protect it. And we saw with this case with Cosimo that, he was not flaunting his wealth, but practicing humility. I mean, that's so powerful. So, Dr. Z, what's your takeaway from this chapter, law number 46?
Even power can seem too good to be true and perfect, so use it wisely. Spider-Man said it best. Great power comes great responsibility, and you don't want to burn the nation down other than just leaving the title of it. And that's kind of the example we were expressed today. And where do you maybe overstep your boundaries in your power when you lead people? And then what if you aren't using your power effectively where you could be leading your people to greatness versus just kind of pushing them around? It's kind of the thoughts that popped up in my head while reading it.
Yeah, yes. This law requires us to be people centered. And I appreciate you for sharing that, because we're always, as Steve said, our strategists on how we could do it, how we could do it better. So thanks for sharing that, Dr. Z. Sister Rosario, what are your thoughts on this chapter?
Wow. As you said, Gregory, is a very powerful chapter. And it tells us in everyday life that envy, that when people know that things are going good for you, it develop envy, it develop resentment. So it's always good to leave some small imperfection, to share the credits. I could not do this without you, to just appear humble. And that's what was displayed in this chapter. Wasimo, he dressed simple. He only have one servant, and that's it. That makes people just think differently about you and don't develop hidden resentment and envy. And that gives you time to plan your strategies better.
Awesome. Yes, it's a contrast for what is and what's presented, and having that balance allows people to connect with you. That's so awesome. So, Sister Jackie, I know that you're listening to this book for the first time, but did you have any thoughts from this chapter, or any questions you want us to answer, or just a word or two of what you thought about it? You don't have
Um,
to go into deep dive, but just wanted to get your reflection.
yeah, my thought would be that there's strength to be found in humility.
Mm.
Um, Maybe that's about it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah.
And as we live a life of humility, we could bless a lot of people. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Brother Vic, what's your takeaway? You're muted.
Where this chapter took me to, it took me to, I didn't think so much about humility and things like that because I think I try to be very humble in a lot of things that I do. But what it took me to was places where I've been an overachiever, right? And I've tried to do things the right way, or if people have tasked me with a project that they want by next week and I give it to them in 2 or 3 days, right, with 3 or 4 days to spare. I find that rather um than honor me for doing it so quickly and so soon and so well, I just get the next task. And I think that it's important that when you're trying to do a good job, right, you need to know the places where you go above and beyond, and you need to know the places where you just need to do what's asked for. Because sometimes when you just go above and beyond all the time, the people around you will act in jealousy sometimes. You've heard that, like, oh my God, this person always, he's a brown noser or he's a people pleaser or whatever it is, right? Those things start to come out of the woodworks. But it is also important, though, to always make sure that you hold yourself to a higher standard of excellence. But you just need to find a balance for when you display that excellence and when you just do what you're supposed to do. I mean, that was my reflection.
Awesome. Yeah, in the workplace, it's very real, and you're 100%. When you're an overachiever, they're going to give you a lot more work, but there's value towards letting somebody else lead a meeting and say, "Hey, brother Steve, thank you for your work. You're leading the meeting today," rather than you leading the meeting every single time, and people are envious. It's not jealous. They're envious that why is Vic always running the meeting? He doesn't give anyone else a chance. So it's a great reflection. Dr. Pena, as you reflect in a beautiful other country, Law 46, what's your takeaway? What's your lessons for us for today?
It's you see the story of Casimo when you go to Florence and you see his power, and most of the museums, all the structure, the way it was built, it's about the Medici. So they really have power. To know also that it was about bag of money and how humble he pretended he was, because everybody he's Casimo, he's the owner of everybody. He needed to play that at that moment, that specific time, and it seems some kind of a strategy that you used to use. Be yourself, be authentic, to who you are, present who you are with the most humility and modesty that you have. Don't find a validation from people. Be careful who are you ally. You have to be your tribe in the process that you go. But don't stop living your life. You cannot imagine me coming every day, every year for 3 months to Europe. How many MB, how many people? Wow, Dr. Piña, blah, 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 blah. But they don't know I spent 30 years and I have a lot of professions. I have a wife, she works, I work. And the technology can allow us to do that, it means. And then I need to live. I need to do what I have to do. But also, I need to make sure to whom I give responsibility that are important to me. Because that envy will make people that if you don't know them, you give responsibility in my business, outside, for the Congress, some kind of, and then you see that that person is not doing anything. My wife is, be careful, he's envious of whatever you're getting, whatever you're doing. And she's telling me, you have very careful with this one, because envy will destroy everything around you, So if it's about power, to whom do you give your power, your relationship, the possibility to destroy you or to keep you? Because that's what envy is. It's the people are around you who wants or will be hateful or resentful of whatever you have in your life. So it's a very delicate kind of path. You doing what you have to do, accomplish what you have to do, what you earned. It's your work, it's your job. You're unique. It's like I admire those big guys, those billionaires, those rich people, and I say, wow, how they did it, what happened, so lucky. It means like I change your unhappy. I think Kierkegaard say unhappy reward or something like that, to admirations and to imitate people. So change your envy to some kind of different passions in your life, because you're gonna get it. You're gonna have it. I mean, I have a poet that I really envy that guy. Oh my God, he was the best poet, and I found myself, criticizing him wherever he goes, everything he did, and he became the national laureate of my generation. And one day he went to New York, and the first guy who was going to speak against him was me. One day I said, "Bro, take it easy, man." I mean, like, what the fuck? I mean, like, take it easy, no se marmon. He became poet. He's a great poet. He's recognized before you. He's your friend. He's a good guy. He's a great guy. Take it easy, man. And I invited him, like, during the pandemic, 2020. and I expressed publicly in front of all my friends, and his best friend, who was that I invited him, and I make pieces with him, recognizing how talented really he really was. And he was above all of us, and he was the best recognized poet of all of us. That's it, you know? And so that's what we have to do sometimes. It's like be now humble, recognize other people know more than you, have more than you, is more intelligent than you, have whatever, and see it. Wow, God, you're so great that you're giving abundance to everybody that want it. So this is a tremendous chapter of, and I love this chapter and the chapter on envy that he has in another book, because this is it. This is the dangerous passion. Envy is a dangerous passion. So, but anyway, I can't spend the whole time, but I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, that's so fascinating to hear you say that, and that's what they say. One of the things we're taught in the garden: when you see the weeds, you got to pluck them out, otherwise they take over. So it's amazing. But anyone want to have a final word or final takeaway? This was a great listening and reading, and can't wait to continue tomorrow with the rest of the chapter. But anyone have any final words? Steve, Rosario, Vic, Dr. Z, Jackie, Brother Vic, close us out.
I had one more reflection, and it's the importance of being happy for others, right? Um, Sometimes we look around and we see others, who may be doing, by our own standard, better than us. We look around and sometimes, here we're talking about protecting ourselves from envy, right? But I think it's also important for us to make sure that we also don't have envy in our hearts, right? Because um, I always try to be the kind of person that if I'm waiting for something for myself and I see someone else get their blessing before me, I just start to kick and stomp and I start to get happy for that person because I know the faithfulness that I have. I know what's in my heart. I know the good wishes. I know all the good things that I want to do for myself and for others. And I know that if somebody else has gotten their blessing, my blessing can't be far behind. And so I find it a lot better to be happy for other people than to be envious for them. And it just makes when it's like when you're I just think vividly of when I was a kid and I used to go to the school, the children's storefront. It was for a bunch of, you've heard me talk about the school. There were a lot of us who would go, you know, down every single year to the World Trade Center, ironically, to the company that I would ultimately work at, Fiduciary Trust at the World Trade Center. They would bring all the kids down from the school every year down there for gifts and for presents. And I would remember how some of these kids who probably weren't going to get a Christmas gift, how they would open those gifts so vividly and they would look around to see what other people got. And I just remember, even at an early 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 year old age, I would be so happy for whatever it was that those kids got because I knew they might not get another gift. And then I would just be eagerly anticipating my own gift because I knew that it would just be so special. And we need to have that kind of heart and mentality for the things of other people.
Awesome. Thank you for closing us out. Be a blessing, celebrate others is important. But don't forget, self-care is also important. Take care of yourself. Do something that you enjoy, because today we celebrate us and we're going to be givers now and in the future. So everyone have a blessed day. Be well, be productive, have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Love y'all.
Jackie.